I woke to the low rumble of a diesel engine, thick with the smell of exhaust and fresh-cut earth. At first I thought it was a dream, one of those replay nightmares where the ground shifts beneath your feet. But then I felt the vibration through my chest, and I knew with that sinking certainty that it was real. I threw back the covers and raced to the window. Across the yard, where the gravel road had wound between maples and pines, where I'd learned to ride a bike, raced my sister on rollerblades, and hunted morels with Dad in spring, there was a gaping trench. A yellow excavator clawed at the earth, ripping up the compacted gravel as if it were nothing more than packing peanuts. Behind it, a blue pickup idled, engine ticking, and a teenager in a neon vest leaned against the door, scrolling through his phone like he was waiting for a bus. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might break my ribs. I ripped on a sweatshirt and slid into boots, then burst out the back door, bare feet slapping the cold wood, arms flailing. The teenager looked up, startled, as I sprinted down the slope. His boots crunched gravel. The excavator operator gave me a lazy wave as if I were the mailman. "What on earth are you doing?" I screamed, skidding to a halt in front of the trench. The operator nudged his colleague. "She's the owner of the place. Her folks sold it to Carter. Official easement." Owner, the word hit me like a fist. The way he said it made it sound like I'd inherited. Oh wait, no, I hadn't. My parents had sold our land, my land to my cousin Carter for $100. $100? I shouted, voice cracking. They sold the only road to him for $100? The kid shrugged, glancing up from his phone. "That's what the paperwork says, miss. He showed us the deed, we're just doing the job." I sank to my knees, dirt smearing my jeans, everything, my summer campfires. The old apple tree Dad planted when I was born, that rickety treehouse I'd rebuilt last year, now lay beyond that trench. No way to the barn, no way to the spring-fed pond where I fished with Lisa, no way to the cabin I'd been saving up to renovate. I felt lightheaded, my vision blurred. I stumbled back and caught the excavator's arm for support. The machine jerked, the operator cursed and cut the engine. Silence fell over the yard, broken by the county road workers shifting uneasily. "Miss," the kid called, voice softer. "You want to talk to Carter?" My throat ached. I'd last talked to Carter at Thanksgiving. He'd roared in with his city friends, commandeered a corner of the living room, and asked why we still lived like pioneers. I'd clutched a slice of cranberry relish and stayed silent. He'd offered $100. My parents had jumped at it like hungry wolves, because real estate taxes, they said, and maintenance. They'd felt trapped. But from my vantage point, I was trapped too, trapped outside my own memories. I shook my head and staggered away, the trench's yawning blackness following me like a shadow. I ran to the house, snatched my phone off the counter. 2 missed calls from Mom, 1 text from Dad, "Call ASAP." My brother's text, "Shit's crazy. Call me." I dialed Dad with shaking fingers. He picked up on the second ring, his voice heavy with guilt. "Julia, why?" I demanded. "Why would you sell it to him? Why would you?" He sighed. "I'm sorry, Jules, we needed the cash. The taxes went up, the roof's leaking. We thought Carter could help maintain the road." I heard a car door slam behind him. "He can't help maintain the road," I said. "He ripped it out, they're digging it up right now." "Julia, you have to see it from our side." His voice cracked. "My side." I laughed, bitter, tears stinging. "There is no our side anymore. You sold me out." He paused. "I love you, I'm sorry." I slammed the phone down, my knees giving out. The world felt shrunk to the size of a peanut. My home, the yard, the ravaged road. I slid against the wall until I sat on the floor, sobbing, a storm of grief and rage pulsing in my veins. An hour later, my brother arrived in his beat-up pickup, Matt, my lifeline when things went south. He burst through the back door, eyes wild. "Jess?" I heard. I wiped my eyes. "They sold our road to Carter." I pointed outside. "He's digging it up. Dad sold it for $100. Matt's face went white. He ran to the trench, glaring at the operator. "What the hell is this?" The kid shrugged. "Your cousin's property now." He pocketed the hammer. Matt cursed. "I'm calling a lawyer." He whipped out his phone. I stood, legs wobbly. "They'll say it's legal," I said, voice low. "There's a deed. Carter's got the official easement." Matt's jaw clenched. He studied the excavator for a beat, then turned to me. "We'll get it back. Trust me." I wanted to believe him. I clutched his arm. "What can we do?" He scanned the yard. We'll go old school. The next hour, under Brew's darkening clouds, we formulated a plan. Carter's deed gave him legal access, but it didn't give him the only access. We had a back gate, overgrown and forgotten, leading to the neighbor's field. If we reopened that path, we'd bypass the main road entirely. Carter's easement was meaningless if there was another way in. Matt disappeared into the shed and emerged with axes and bolt cutters. We hacked through brambles, wrestled with barbed wire, and pried open the rusty gate. By dusk, we'd cleared a narrow path wide enough for our trucks. I tested it, driving my little farmall garden tractor through the mud. It made a satisfying hiss as the treads bit into damp soil. The pond was on the other side, glittering in the fading light. My breath came in ragged puffs. As I climbed down, I felt something new. Euphoria, fierce as wildfire. Carter thought he'd claimed my land and cut me off. But I'd found a secret route that belonged to me, hidden in plain sight. That night the excavator left, the trench half filled by dawn rains. Carter texted me, "I see you're working hard, but don't think this changes anything." I didn't respond. In the days that followed, I drove through the back gate every morning, morning sun glittering on the gravel nubbins I'd scattered in the trench to keep it closed. I rebuilt the road in miniature, enough for me, enough to restore my connection to home. My parents called, apologetic but pleading. Carter called, brash but concerned. My mailbox filled with certified letters and calls from attorneys offering to buy it back. I ignored them all, because that road wasn't for sale. It was my childhood, my blood, my laughter echoing in the pines. Carter's $100 couldn't buy that. They'd sold me out, but I refused to be sold. And every morning, as I rolled through the back gate toward the old farmhouse, I felt the ground beneath me hum with decades of memories. The future was mine to pave, gravel by gravel, step by step, on a path I'd reclaimed with my own two hands. I woke before dawn, the air sweet with last night's rain, and climbed into my truck as if going on a secret mission. I'd slept for 2 hours on the couch. Dreams of gravel and fences chased me through restless sleep, and now I was driving the back route, headlamps cutting through mist. By the time I reached the back gate, Carter's bulldozer was parked near the front trench. His city friends were sipping coffee in lawn chairs, as if presiding over a backyard barbecue. When they saw me roll up the slope, their chatter died. "Morning, Julia," Carter called, voice hollow. Behind his aviators, I could see surprise, maybe respect. He took a slow sip from a travel mug. "Impressive work." I climbed out and slid the gate shut behind me. "Morning, Carter." He glanced at the hatchet leaning in my truck bed, the bolt cutters. His silent appraisal felt like a hailstorm. "You really think you can keep everyone out with a little backdoor path?" "I don't need to keep everyone out," I said, voice calm. "I need to keep you honest." He frowned. "Listen, I know you've filed injunction papers." I interrupted. "You've lawyered up, town records, easement rights, the whole kit. But while that's tied up, this road is the only one I'm using." He stepped forward. "You're trespassing on my easement. It's not yours if it isn't functional," I said. "You cut off my access first." He stared at me like I was a riddle. "This is war." My lips curved. "Let's call it a hostile insight." His friends snickered. Carter's jaw clenched. Then he turned and walked back to the bulldozer. He revved it once, twice, then shut it down again. "You'll pay for this," he said without looking back. I tipped my chin. "Only if you fix the road you blew up." He climbed back into the cab. Metal creaked. The engine purred to life. As the bucket scraped the soil, I climbed back into my truck and drove off toward the courthouse, the back gate swinging shut behind me. Mist cloaked the hillside, and my heart hummed with righteous fury. At the courthouse steps, my lawyer, Mark, was pacing. His suit looked like it had been slept in for days. He flashed me a lopsided grin. "Good show out there." I offered him coffee, black. He sipped and handed me a sheaf of papers. He moved to enforce his easement rights. "But your counterclaim is strong. Easement abandonment, non-use. Also a prescriptive claim on the back path dating to your grandfather's chicken coop days." I read the counterclaim. "The coop story," Mark winked. "Neighbors recall eggs at the back fence for 50 years. That's prescriptive easement material." I laughed. "Who keeps egg records?" He shrugged. We're creative. He steered me toward security. Ready? I inhaled crisp morning air. Let's do it. Inside, the judge wore a look of mild amusement, like she'd seen cousins fight over land before. Carter's lawyer, in a sharp gray pencil skirt, presented his case. Deed, easement, consideration. $100, recorded. It was airtight, except for the wrinkle that Carter had never maintained the road, and it had always slumped into mud whenever it rained. That alone fell under abandonment. Then Mark stood. He recounted the uphill battle. My 20 years of continuous use via the back path, the coop egg deliveries, the neighbors' affidavits, and an old plat map, noting that the access road was never intended to be my parents alone, but part of a communal farm lane. He brought up Carter's partial fill and trench, interference with my property rights. He laid out the law. Easements could be terminated by non-use or manifest intent to abandon. Carter's $100 purchase looked more like a cost-cutting trick than genuine necessity. The courtroom was silent as Judge Simmons closed her eyes, took her time, then leaned forward. I find in favor of Miss Thompson on 2 grounds. First, a prescriptive easement by adverse use of the back path for more than 20 years. Second, abandonment of the front access road via active trenching and non-use beyond 1 year. She tapped her gavel. Miss Johnson, she turned to Carter's lawyer. Your client must restore the road to its original condition within 30 days or pay for an equivalent reconstruction under court supervision. Additionally, Miss Thompson's ownership of her parcel, including access rights via the back path, is confirmed. A murmur rippled. Carter's lawyer flicked through notes, face pale. Carter stared at me, mouth a thin line. Relief, joy, and a touch of triumph flooded me. I sank into my chair, then rose, smiling at Mark. He winked. We shook hands, and I found myself grinning like a teenager. Outside, Carter lingered on the steps. The judge's clerk wheeled away the evidence boxes, and he called to me, Julia. I paused. Yes? He cleared his throat. I'm sorry, I thought I was fixing things for Mom and Dad. I didn't consider what it meant to you. If you'll have it back, please take the front road. It's yours. I studied him, city-slicked cousin turned reluctant landowner. Something softened in his eyes. You'll repair it? By next week, he said. I promise. I nodded. Next time, talk to me first. He exhaled. I will. A week later, I stood at the top of that repaired front road. Gravel laid smooth, culverts replaced, grade restored, ready for traffic. I climbed into my truck, walked my foot across the brake, and let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. Then I pressed the gas, wheels spinning, and drove down the old lane, shaking off the dust of courtrooms and back roads, sandbags and threats. The morning sun glittered on the pond, the barn's red siding gleamed, and the maples whispered in delight. At the foot of the hill, I found Carter leaning against the truck, sleeves rolled up. He looked like he'd spent every spare moment on this project, too. He smiled when he saw me. Perfect. I hopped out. Like it was made for us. He bumped my shoulder. Let's grab a beer at Miller's. On me, I laughed. You're on probation. He winked. Wouldn't have it any other way. We walked up the road together, past the fence where the backhoe first struck, then past the back gate, now open wide. As we reached the porch, the horses neighed in greeting. I slid the key into the door, turned it, and opened my home once more. Inside, the smell of coffee lingered in the kitchen. Dad had already brewed a pot, Mom had fresh biscuits on the table, and my brother, bleary-eyed, held up a stack of pancakes. It was the farm I'd grown up in, soft, welcoming, a little messy, but now it felt whole again. I traded my boots for slippers, poured coffee into a chipped mug, and joined my family. Carter carried in a six-pack. He caught my eye and raised a bottle. I clinked mine against his. The farm road might have been sold and dug up and litigated, but it only took a $100 mistake to bring us back together. And sometimes, the best repairs aren't the ones you lay with gravel and stone, but the ones you build by showing up, listening, and forging a path forward together.